Good evening to all of you. It's my pleasure to welcome every one of you for this WAD celebration by Triple C. On this great evening, we are about having a session on the business continuity and the business resilience. Before going into the session, I'd just like to welcome you all of you on behalf of the Consultant Consortium of Chennai. This is the only association as on date in India for the management consultants. And our association is registered with the Tamil Nadu Government Society Act. It is registered under the Tamil Nadu Society Act. And our main purpose of the association is to promote the industrial education and industrial connect on the various management system standards and what are its benefits, so that they can continue to practice and get benefit out of it. So this is the main agenda of our consultant consortium of Chennai. And of course, we are into the third year now. And due to lot of these pandemic issues, our regular activities still could not be started, but still we are able to meet the people through these various webinars, meetings, trainings, all by the online. And we see that as early as possible, we will come and meet you in person to share whatever the learnings we had. And today we are having three faculties. First of all, I like to introduce the Amod Deshpande, General Manager of IRPS. IRPS is a very popular certification body in India. It's one of the oldest one in India. And his professional qualifications since 2007, he is working with the Indian Register of Quality Systems, currently working in the capacity of a General Manager. He is an international qualified automotive auditor for IATF 16949 by IATF itself. And he is achieved the green status as an IATF auditor. He is a lead tutor for CPI IRCA on these ISO 9001, ISO 14001, and ISO 45001 standards. Lead auditor also on these three standards, plus Energy Management System ISO 50001. He is having a 12 years of automotive experience, a total of 14 years of experience in management system auditing, IAS, PMS, EMS, OSHAs, and other training. Manufacturing organization in automotive industry called specialization. And the organization he worked with Hindustan Motor, Bajaj, Tempo Limited, Suzuki Order Limited. This is the background of Sri Amod Deshpande. And I welcome Mr. Amod Deshpande to start his session.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for CCC for giving us an opportunity to address a webinar on SDG and role of certification bodies. Immense thanks to all participants for joining this webinar. Thank you very much. I welcome you all for this webinar. The basic topic of this webinar is a role of certification bodies in implementation of SDGs to organizations, various organizations, to their businesses. So what is the agenda of this webinar? First is, what is the Sustainable Development Goals, which is known as SDGs? What is the connection between SDGs and ISO standards? Then ISO standard reference in various cross-reference to SDGs. Then what is the certification body's role in focused engagement of businesses to achieve these SDGs? And finally, we will have a conclusion, and later on we can have a question answer session. So first, Indian Register of Shipping, as told by Sir. is our apex organization established in 1975. This is basically by act of a parliament. And in 1993, IRS has started its own division of certification under the name Indian Register Quality System, IRQS, with an aim of venturing into ISO certifications and training services. IRQS is a part of Association of Certification Bodies of India under uh, able leadership of Mrs. Johri. Since 1997, we are a member of this and one of the founder members, and currently we are chairing the ACBI. This is about our brief background. These are the accreditations we have. RVA Netherlands, that is the oldest accreditation we have since 1993. Rather, we were the first certification body to have a RVA accreditation for ISO 9000. Then later on, we added our accreditation to National Accreditation Board for certification bodies, then IATF, which is dedicated to automotive industry, and finally ANAP, National Accreditation Board for US. So let us divide this topic into three phases. So first we will understand what is a SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, right? Then ISO standards and how it is complementing to SDGs. And finally we'll go to the role of certification body. Now let us understand what is SDG, Sustainable Development. What is the definition of that? So sustainable development, widely accepted definition is the need of the present without compromising the ability of the future generation needs or meets and their own needs. So a very popular definition today, whatever resources we have, we will consume it judiciously so that something will be left out for the next generation, right? Very noble definition. Now let us go and understand about SDGs development. In 2015, United Nations set an ambitious 15 years plan to address some of the most pressing issues faced by the world. What are those? Population is growing, first concern. Second is we have a limited natural resources available on the earth. And there is a tremendous inequalities among the countries, societies, their richness and poorness. So a lot of disparity is there. So they have taken an ambitious target of 15 years to come out of this, and by 2030 we will have a better world to live, a sustainable world we will have. So this plan is to enhance the peace, prosperity, eradicate the poverty, and protect the planet. This plan of action calls on contribution from all elements of the society, including some sort of national governments, businesses, industries, and individuals also. To be successful, the process requires consensus, collaboration, and innovation. For example, the entire model of this world revolves around the three categories. The first is economic growth. Without economic growth, we will not be able to feed our population. Second thing, social growth. There should be less inequalities amongst the various countries between poor and rich, developing nations and developed nations, right? And third is environment. We have, we will do the economical progress, but not at the cost of environment. So these are the three pillars around which all SDGs are built, right? So organizations and companies looking to contribute into this SDGs will find that international standard standards, which is responsible for publishing all ISO standards, that is a very, very effective tool to help them rise to this challenge. So, how to implement these SDGs? How to achieve sustainable growth, economical growth? How to bring the equality? How to protect the environment? That is a challenge. And one ray of hope is ISO, International Organization for Standardization. They have done some wonderful work in this area. Right? So, as on today, International Organization for Standardization is having 23,787 international standard covering almost all technologies, manufacturing, and almost all economic sectors. How many standards? I reiterate, 23,787 standards they have published till date. 165 countries, then that means almost entire globe, almost, not fully, but entire globe is representing into the ISO. And there is only one membership per country. In India, we have Bureau of Indian Standard representing India into International Organization for Standardization, ISO. Now, there are around 795 technical committees and subcommittees who are responsible for this publication of either new standards or revision of existing standards. So they are doing a wonderful job. Now let us look at the survey which is done by ISO itself by the end of 2019 and look at the numbers. ISO 9001 total number of sites they have certified around 12 lakhs. 14,001 around 4 lakh. And if you see this is a standard. That means they are touching those number of manufacturing units or service sector for ISO 9001 certificate, for 14,001 certificate. So if you make the total of it, it will definitely cross around 12 lakhs, right? Now look at these sustainable goals, right? There are 17 sustainable goals put forth by United Nations. Definitely we will touch upon each and every sustainable goal in the next slide and we will see how it is corresponding to some of the popular ISO standards, right? So at this juncture, we should know how many SDGs are there. Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 sustainable goals that needs to be achieved by 2030. So even in India also, you can see the potable water to all the population, one of the ambitious program taken by Government of India. And I think we had one session through WAD 2021, which is especially talking about the sanitization and potable water to all the communities. So ISO standard provide a solid base on which innovation can be set on, and ISO standards are essential tools to help industry and consumers to contribute in the achievement of SDGs. For example, ISO standard will say you protect your environment. Some ISO standards will say you protect your employees. Some ISO standards will say you have a equality amongst your employees. You should not have a gender bias whenever you are paying to your employees. They should have authority or some sort of freedom for collective bargaining. So some of the ISO standards will talk about that. Some of the ISO standards will talk about the food safety. Some of the ISO standards, they will talk about the medical devices, which will take care of the health and healthcare systems around the globe. Some of the standards, they are itself talking about the sustainable goal, how to make the sustainable progress in the organization. Some of the organizations will tell you how to make your processes more efficient. More efficient means by using optimized use of your resources, how can you enhance your product? Some standards are there. They are talking about the sustainable procurement, right? So ISO has set a goal and they have already aligned their ISO standards with the SDGs. Now let us see one by one each goal and how it is linked to a popular ISO standard. So there are, you can see, I'm sorry if it is not eligible, but I will explain each and every row which is there. So first goal is there should not be poverty. So poverty related, there are 340 ISO standards. But if we are talking about the certification body and with regards to management system certification, there are two standards available. ISO 20400 sustainable procurement. How to make the sustainable procurement, right? Second is anti-bribery management, so that equal distribution of wealth will be there amongst the sectors of the society. ISO 37001. Second goal is zero hunger. So best example of this management system standard is 22,000 food safety management system. Then second, which is complementing to zero hunger, is ISO 26,000, that is a social responsibility, and ISO 20,400, that is a sustainable procurement again. And out of these, 529 ISO standards are touching this zero hunger goal. The third goal is good health and well-being. What are the management system taken care by the certification bodies? So again, 37101, sustainable development of communities. Communities means various sectors of the societies. 1100 137 series for the sterilization of healthcare products by radiation. Because nowadays, because of this pandemic, sterilization and radiation itself is of paramount importance. So this is very helpful because we are struggling to fight with COVID. So because of this fight, some additional issues should not come into picture because of some use of wrong mask, use of wrong non-sterile equipments. That is very important, right? Again, materials used for surgical instrument is stated in ISO 7153. Then quality education. Nowadays, ISO 21,000 is very popular amongst the education institutes. This is a management system standard on education only, right? Then gender equality, ISO 26,000, that is on social responsibility. This standard is only talking about the social responsibility. 173 standards are related to goal number 5, gender equality. Goal number 6 is clean water, which I already mentioned to you, and sanitization. Various governments from developing nations, they are taking some sort of policy decisions on this clean water and sanitization. And I would like to mention that government of India has taken one initiative on the clean water and sanitization. So which ISO standard is touching this? ISO 24,521, right? Which gives the management system standard for maintenance of basic domestic wastewater services, right? And then again, ISO 30,500 is non-sewered sanitization systems. So ISO has done wonderful job. So automatically they are correlating with various goals. Now then, goal number 7 is affordable energy and clean energy. 50,001 energy management system is very popular amongst that, and 52,000, that is a standard on the energy performance of the building, and that standard is very much essential for the construction sector. Now, goal number 8 is talking about the decent work and economic growth. So decent work means again health and safety of the people. Not only health and safety, but physical, then social and cognitive. All three safeties should be taken care of. ISO 45001, very, very popular, not only in India, but all across the globe. 37001, anti-bribery, that will bring some sort of quality. Now, next is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. So, ISO 44001, collaborative business and relationship management system. 56,002, innovation management, a new standard which is coming up. 56,003, on tools and methods for collaboration and innovation partnership. Then goal number 10, reduce the inequalities. I already mentioned ISO 26,000, social responsibility. Then sustainable cities and communities. What is that? So two upcoming standards are there yet to be published, and that is ISO 37,122 and ISO 37,123. Right? For it, these are the indicators for resilient cities. Right? ISO 22313, that is a business continuity management system. Right? 22326 is emergency management. 22395 guidelines for supporting the vulnerable people in the emergency situation, and 24526 water efficiency management. So this will take care of sustainable cities and communities. Goal number 12, responsible consumption and production. We should use and utilize the resources judiciously. For example, petroleum product. For example, iron ore. For example, potable water. So ISO 20,400 is for sustainable procurement. Then ISO 14020 is for environmental labeling, right? Star ratings and all those things will come under it. Then ISO 15392, sustainability in building construction, right? Then climate action, which is talking about the environment now. Most popular is ISO 14001, environment management system. So 14065 is specification for the qualification and monitoring and validation verification of greenhouse gas emission. Then ISO 14067 is related to quantifying and reporting the carbon prints of the product. So definitely industries will take help of these standards and will talk so that automatically there will be a some sort of awareness amongst the industries, amongst the industry forums, and certification body can play a very good role in correlated with the SDGs. Next is life below water, ISO 30,000. So the best example is ship recycling management system. At the end of ship life, maybe around 20 years or 15 years, which is sailing in the ocean, now it will come for the recycling. And recycling is most hazardous process, most dangerous process from environment that may impact the aquatic life. So ISO 30,000 will tell us how to responsibly so there will be a very minimal damages to the environment. Life on land, goal number 50. About environment and management. 38,200 chain of custody of wood. For example, we want to conserve our forest. So there is one dedicated standard available for chain of custody of wood and wood-based products. So how wood will travel from the jungle area to the until and unless it is getting converted into a final product and getting installed at houses or residences or offices. That ISO standard is there, ISO 38,200. Now we are going towards the peace, justice, and strong institutions. Rule number 16. 37,001 anti-bribery management system. So one standard can be touching two, three SDGs. That is, it is possible. And final goal is partnership for the all is achievement of the goal. So we should collaborate. So countries are collaborating with each other to achieve these goals. So industry forum should collaborate so that they will achieve these goals. So, and I congratulate CCC for taking initiative in this. So last leg of this is what is the role of certification body in this? First, your certification body should be should have a recognized certification body. By whom? By International Accreditation Forum. And it should have a MLA signatories and their accredited bodies that will remove the technical barriers to the trade amongst the various countries. It will reduce the cost. So if you have a recognized certificate of IIF, definitely it will reduce the cost. Otherwise, if certificate is not valid, then lot of resources are getting wasted. Not for that organization, but internationally also, if you are exporting some product from one country to other country. And this adds value to business as well as customers. Definitely. Then IAF MLA signatories and their accredited conformity assessment bodies may use the IAF and MLA marks. So whenever certification bodies they are issuing the certificate, they can initiate the IAF logo on the certificate. They can put that symbol that will tell us authenticity of the certification body. Once IAF mark is there, that means it will give the assurance of conformity assessment bodies. They are competent and it is a trusted source of conformity assessment. Now, what role CB can play here? Now, accreditation bodies like NABCB, they cannot directly touch the industries. Certification bodies in an year, they can have audits, they can get an opportunity to interact with the business houses, industries, industry forums. So they have a greater role to play here because they are open to have a direct dialogue with original equipment manufacturer, decision makers, policy makers in the industries. So CBs, they can propel the implementation of ISO standards, which can contribute into the SDGs. For example, your CBs are going for audit, so they can promote the various other standards among the industries, and they should tell us why these standards are important for your industry, for your country, and for the entire globe. Because indirectly you are contributing to the noble cause of UN 2030 of achieving the SDGs. So all the industries, and especially after this pandemic, they are talking about the innovation, they are talking about improvement in the efficiency, they are talking about more production with optimized resource utilization. So continual improvement is the buzzword in all industries. So if certification body go in the industry forums and while auditing, if they couple this with the SDGs, they can tell us there are various standards which will talk about the sustainable development, not for you, but for entire the globe. So whenever they are interacting with the decision maker, business houses, rather they should open a dialogue in that direction. What is your role of sustainable development? What is your contribution in the role of sustainable development? And during that discussion, if you refer the SDGs and correlation of SDGs with ISO standard, then probably they will get a new insight, and by which they will start acquiring the new ISO standards and they will contribute to the SDGs. Right? So CBs can create awareness amongst all the stakeholders of the certification business so that they can promote implementation of SDGs. Right? Now, for example, here we are talking about the ISO, International Organization for Standardization, who is responsible for publishing of all ISO standards. But there are certain sector specific standards available. For example, oil and gas. They have a dedicated standard, but that is not an ISO standard. ISO standard means it's a generic. Anybody can implement it and anybody can go for the certification. But whenever it's a sector specific standard, for example, oil and gas, if you are not falling in the supply chain of oil and gas, they will not allow you to go for TS 29,000 certification. Same is there. IATF, International Automotive Task Force. They will not allow if you are not fall into automotive supply chain. Similarly, aerospace. If you are not supplying any material or services to aerospace industry, you will not be a part of that supply chain. But then here certification body has got a very important role because they may have a certain clients who are TS 29,000, IATF, AS 9,000. So there also certification body can promote the SDGs and ISO standards. Right? I already refer to the talking to the stakeholders at various forums. Right? And through best practice sharing from one industry to other industries, right? And by formalizing the rule, they can literally bring some value addition into achievement of these SDGs. They can play a small role. So ISO 26,000, this is the standard. It offers 450 recommendations related to SDGs. Very, very powerful standard, addressing 7 core areas of social responsibility, organizational government, human rights, labor practices, environment, fair operating practices like anti-bribery, right? Then consumer issues, community involvement, and development. That is purely stated in ISO 26,000. Very powerful standard. But if you see how much is the certification efficacy, very, very less, right? So ISO standards have a very great role to play in pursuing the SDG. All stakeholders like certification bodies, individual firms, industries, policymakers, NGOs, they can build and interlinkages of ISO standards and SDGs. So auditors, certification bodies, accreditators can also play a role in reporting progress towards the SDGs goal and targets to various industry forums. So this is a small step taken towards the United Nations noble cause of achieving sustainable development growth. Right. So again, I am going back to the slide which I showed you in the earlier session. So look at the numbers. So if you sum it up, there are around 15 lakh certificates available or sites available all over the world for various standards. Now look at the reach of certification bodies, how they can reach to various industries and touch so many people at a time, and they can really play a very crucial role in achieving the SDGs. All right. So with this, I sum up my session with you. Thank you very much. Over to you now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for an in-depth coverage on the ISO standards and how these ISO standards can support achievement of this SDG goals. Really very surprised to see the number of standards that ISO is covering. Say, for example, 27 to 2,700 standards for the health and well-being. Lot of statistics was given, sir. It is really amazing. And yes, certification body plays a major and important role in promoting the various standards. They are giving a lot of awareness to the customers about the various standards applicable to them. And by their patient inspection and auditing, they are guiding the organization for a better management system implementation on a continuous basis. Very grateful, sir. Your experience was we are able to see your experience by this evening. And any question answers on this particular presentation, please keep it across. On the end of the session, end of the final session, we can add it across. Now I am welcoming Ms. Vijayalakshmi. Ms. Vijayalakshmi is the Secretary General of Andhra Chamber of Commerce based at Chennai. She is a science graduate and a Microsoft Certified System of Engineer from NIT. We went through various communication workshops, communication, marketing training, international conference on IT, communication technology, international workshop on Community Asia, Singapore, and a lot of wide experience she is having. She was worked with TFSC, that is Tansita PMS Service Center. Actually, it's a collaboration between the Tamil Nadu government, Tamil Nadu Small and Tiny Industrial Association, and Friedrich Naumann Stiftung from Germany. They actually provide a lot of supporting services to the micro, small, medium industries. And they are served there for more than 26 million various capacities. And she is instrumental in bringing the innovation funding project for Tamil Nadu MSME from government of Germany. Having expertise in creation of entrepreneurs, worked with the various state and central government agencies for the promotion of the various teams of the government of Germany. So she is having wide exposure in developing this understanding and explaining the roles of these various chamber of commerce or association or business association for supporting this SDG development. Madam, the session is over.
Giridharan sir, just a little more louder, please, sir. Your voice is actually a little low, sir.
Okay.
Now, next time, please kindly request you to just increase the volume a little. Yeah, okay. Volume, please. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Giridharan, for the introduction. And good evening to all. And as Mr. Giridharan said, that I could hear the earlier speaker, Mr. Amod Deshpande. He has gone in depth about the standards and also the role of CBs on the SDGs. Thank you very much, sir, for the nice presentation. And it gives me great pleasure to be part of this World Accreditation Day celebrations organized by the Consultants Consortium of Chennai. I'm seeing the daily schedule through FB, and I could see the list of speakers and the sessions, which is very well taken with a lot of efforts by Ms. Rama Venugopal. Thank you, ma'am. And the topic given to me today is the role of Chamber in encouraging businesses to implement the Sustainable Development Goals. Before I proceed, I would like to give a small introduction about our chamber. Andhra Chamber of Commerce, I think many of you might have heard about this chamber. This is one of the oldest chambers of commerce in southern India, having branches in Hyderabad, Vizag, and Vijayawada. This many of us, many of the people, the question that why the Andhra Chamber of Commerce should be in Chennai, I would like to just give a brief intro about it. The Chamber of Commerce has been formed in 1928 before the bifurcation of Andhra and Tamil Nadu. That is why the Andhra Chamber of Commerce formed. And from then on, it has started functioning in Chennai, and then we have kept the regional office in Chennai and then opened the branches to serve the Telangana and Andhra people in Hyderabad, Vizag, and Vijayawada. We have more than 1,500 industry members and 35 trade associations as our members. Though the chamber has been named as Andhra Chamber, the chamber has not only has members from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and Tamil Nadu, but also has members from nearby states like Karnataka, Kerala, and Pondicherry, and the states which are far away like Chandigarh, Delhi, Haryana, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, and West Bengal. And this shows a striking proof of the vision of the chamber, because the chambers has got, it's a very open-minded chamber with a lot of people, eminent people on the fold. And the motto of the chamber is progress through commerce and industry. The chamber has always sought the progress of the industrial and business community, and that's how we are here after 92 years, serving going very strong. And in alignment with the startup momentum in the country, the Andhra Chamber of Commerce has set up a business incubator, the first of its kind to be started by a business chamber in the country, to promote and nurture the entrepreneurship. And the chamber also provides a certificate of origin. I think many of you are aware of the certificate of origin, which is very important for the exports. And we provide that to the members, which facilitates exports. And also we provide visa recommendation letters to the consulates of the various countries, to the people who are traveling abroad. The chamber also organizes business meets, the conferences, and seminars on various topics of interest to the members every now and then. So as far as today's topic is concerned, the Sustainable Development Goals provide a powerful aspiration for improving our world, laying out where we collectively need to go and how to get there. This is very, very, very important part of today's program. And there are 17 Sustainable Development Goals to transform the world, our world. And I would like to highlight a few of the Chamber's initiatives with respect to these goals. If you take goal number 1, that is no poverty, the chamber has taken up.
Sorry for breaking. Is there a presentation you're sharing actually?
No, ma'am.
Okay, fair enough. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
No, there's no presentation.
Yeah, please continue. Sorry. Please.
Yeah, no problem. So as far as the goal 1, no poverty, the chamber has taken up a lot of programs on livelihood initiatives for below poverty line families. For example, we have taken up fishermen folk in and around, and then we have trained them on tailoring skills in the recent past. And this tailoring skills provided them, the livelihood for them. And that too, especially during this corona times, the chamber has gone one step beyond, and not only provided the training, but also provided the tailoring missions to these fishermen folk, and which helped them to start their own tailoring units to support their families and, to earn would for their families. And this was a great initiative as far as the chamber is concerned. And goal number 2 is zero hunger. That is this project with Friedrich Naumann Stiftung for Day Free Heat, and they World Without Hunger, that is the world without hunger. And through this, we have started the programs on digital marketing sessions to empower the businesses to go digital programs, and to empower them, the small businesses, to go live. This e-commerce programs or digital marketing programs, at the end of the program, we see to it that at least 15 people out of 20, they learn the tools of the digital, and then they have their own websites, and they do the digital marketing and then earn their income. This is done under that zero hunger SDG. And good health and well-being, this is the 3rd goal. And here we organize health and well-being programs organized regularly on healthcare services, medical devices, and pharmaceutical and biotech sectors. And this again we have done with CCC as well as with Ms. Rama Venugopal. We have done a lot of programs on this. And as far as quality education is concerned, the chamber is organizing various educational development programs for the industry workers, employees, and vocational skill development programs on various aspects. And this is again done under the SDG of quality education. And as far as the gender equality, we have done programs on women empowerment and women entrepreneurship. This year again, we are planning for a big program sometime in November on women empowerment programs. And under clean water and sanitization goal, the chamber has organized health and safety programs for industries and communities. And through this, we see to it that at least the knowledge sharing programs, we consider this as, because there are many things, many schemes of the government which is not reaching the public. So through this, we organize a lot of programs in collaboration with the governmental departments. And affordable and clean energy. Here again, we have done solar energy programs and expos conducted in Hyderabad as well as in Chennai in the last couple of years, because there are a lot of people who are providing solar energy and solar energy panels, which is not known to the public. And we organize through demos as well as through expos, we conduct this. And as far as the goal 8, the decent work and economic growth is concerned, that we organize regular trade and commerce development and growth initiatives from Chamber for overall economic growth. And goal number 9, the industry, innovation and infrastructure. The Chamber organizes business sessions for industry on industrial growth strategies, MSMEs development programs, and business innovation with the business innovation focus. As I told you in my profile also, the Chamber has done. Chamber is also planning to do innovation programs, because there are a lot of challenges being given to the business innovations now. In my earlier capacity, we have done a lot of programs, and we have done funding also to the MSMEs who have got business innovations. And this is now being done by EDI. So we are trying to collaborate with the EDI government of Tamil Nadu and to do this focus, to give a more focus on this business innovations. And reduce the inequality as well as the sustainable cities and communities. We are ready to focus more on that. And as far as goal 12, the responsible consumption and production, the Chamber has done programs on safe food consumption programs and various sessions on agri and food sectors. And climate action, as far as the climate action or climate change is concerned, again, this we take it as renewable energy. We focus more on energy programs and energy conservation and energy, renewable energy. And the Chamber has also done programs with, trade promotions and partnerships to achieve the goal. The Chamber has done trade expos with various chambers. We organize business meets, expert councils, and we organize programs with various, trade promotion councils and trade embassies, international chambers, and business delegations. The Chamber has organized many delegations to various countries, and we also do collaborations with the various chambers of commerce in other countries. So these are all some of the small and humble initiatives taken up by our Chamber, and we plan to do much more in the coming years. As far as I would like to say that, focusing on whatever is their regular work, the Chamber also should do alignment work with this SDGs, because the SDGs are very, very important in today's scenario. And we have to create and facilitate a lot of work with our members to make this SDGs a successful one. And I would like to thank the entire CCC team for organizing this WAD celebrations, and I thank Mr. Amma Venugopal for giving me this opportunity to be here today. Thank you, ma'am. Any questions? I'm most open to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Vijayalakshmi.
Thank you, ma'am. Really, I'm actually surprised to see a lot of contribution from the Andhra Chamber, because so far from my experience with the Andhra Chamber of past 10 years, they organize a lot of meetings related to business. But I'm really happy to note that you have contributed a lot of, taken a lot of efforts and contributed for the sustainable development goals. My heartfelt appreciation to you, ma'am, to your team also.
Thank you.
And through CCC, I am actually associating with the Andhra Chamber. In short, we will having a lot of programs in association with the Andhra Chamber, and we will try to achieve the sustainable development goals. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for coming over here and sparing your time.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Now I am happy to invite Mr. Ram Kumar. He's already there. Mr. Ram Kumar is the founder of Pragaya Consultancy based at Chennai. He is having 22 years of diversified experience in quality, health, safety, environment, and he is a management consultant, trainer, and auditor. He is a certified lead auditor and the instructor for IAATF, ISO 9000, 14000, 27000, and 45001. He is a certified assessor in CAA Exim of Business Excellence. Conducted trainings on various topics ranging from QMS, risk management to the core tools. Strong ability in training and expert in skill development. And further above, I know Ram Kumar sir for the past 7 years. Such a wonderful person, helping attitude, support at any time, whenever you ask for, always helping mind. Mr. Ram Kumar sir, we are very happy to have you this evening, and we are welcoming you for your session on this business continuity. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Giridharan, for the introduction.
One addition, Mr. Ram Kumar is also the Vice President of CCC.
Yes. the Vice President of the team.
Thank you, Srikandan sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Srikandan sir. Thank you.
I'll just share my PowerPoint. So today's topic is implementation of BCMS in industries, journey towards resilient organization, which is covered in ISO 22301 requirement. And let me throw some light on what is BCMS and what is resilient organization. Before that, as already two eminent speakers before me highlighted the importance of 17 SDG goals, Sustainable Development Goals. So this slide shows in nutshell about all those 17 goals. In fact, Mr. Amod Deshpande explained in detail about the different goals and also the different ISO standards related to these goals. And Vijayalakshmi Madam has explained how Andhra Chamber of Commerce is oriented towards achieving these SDG goals in reality, translating that into reality. Really, it was a wonderful insight given by both of them. And with particular requirement to ISO 22301, the SDG goal number 11, which is sustainable cities and communities, predominantly this ISO 22000 P13, that is the business continuity management system, comes under this apart from ISO 37122, which is indicator for smart cities. Now I think everyone is aware. Many smart cities have been announced by our central government, and a lot of initiatives are taken up now. Even in Tamil Nadu, we are also, many cities have been declared as smart cities. Work is going on, and ISO 22326, which is emergency management, and ISO 22395 guidelines for supporting vulnerable people in emergency situations, and of course water efficiency management system, which is ISO 24526. So this particular standard, the total valid certificates as of now is 1693 in the globe, and also total number of sites which has been certified is 6231. If you really see this number, a long journey is awaiting for all of us to adopt this particular standard of 22301 business continuity. Let us understand the definition for these two words, business continuity and resilient organization. Business continuity is the advanced planning and preparation undertaken to ensure that an organization will have the capability to operate its critical business functions during emergency events. Events can include natural disasters, a business crisis, pandemic, workplace violence, or any event that results in a disruption. We call that as a disruptive incident, which may even lead to a disaster. Disruption and disaster are the two keywords which is used in business continuity. And of course, the journey towards the resilient organization is the order of the day. Resilient organizations are those that rebound and prosper after business disruptions because they are resistant to the impacts of disruption through good risk management, as well as adaptive, elastic, and sustainable in the face of disruption. So the RO, in short, it is called as RO. RO means resilient organization. That is the culmination point of the journey of business continuity. That is why the topic has been chosen. It's a very apt topic, that the journey towards resilient organizations. For that, the business continuity planning, anything starts with planning. So the planning is very important. So planning to continue the business, which is not a new concept, maybe a fancy name for a common sense. For any business houses, this has been there in the blood of any businessman. To continue the business in the time of crisis, they use a lot of common sense to continue the business. And in reality, we have been performing business continuity planning for centuries. That's a very real, true word. But still, many organizations struggled to restart operations during the COVID-19 situation. Now we are also experiencing it. So we need more than just common sense. We need a structured and formal implementation of common sense. That is what is required now. And these are some of the cartoons which is depicting the disaster recovery as well as the business continuity and also the disruptive incidents. Just I will run through the slides. You yourself, it's a self-explanatory cartoons. You can just see for yourself. Disaster and emergencies are unpredictable. We back up our data on sticky notes because sticky notes never crash. Likewise, there are some more cartoons here for resilience. This too shall pass. In Tamil, there is a proverb saying that iduvum kadandu pogum. That's what we say in Tamil. So we say this too shall pass. That's in terms of adversity. That's the way we give energy to ourselves and say, yes, this too shall pass and we'll be able to overcome any type of adversities. So the organizational resilience in challenging times is definitely will not come overnight. The entire business has to practice and in a formal and a structured manner has to prepare themselves to face such type of crisis. So the business continuity has to definitely have a contingency planning and resilience, wherein the crisis communication, the critical infrastructure protection, the occupant emergency, the information system contingency, the cyber incident response. Very important is disaster recovery planning, DRP in short we say, and continuity of operations. These are all things which goes to form the business continuity plan. And the challenges are an uneven battle against an unknown enemy who has nothing better to do. We called as 2 Ds, which is disruption and disaster. You have other matters to focus on, but they have a single point agenda. The single point agenda is again start with D, which is to damage your business. So the main agenda for any disruption or any disaster is to damage the business. So the minimum damage that it is caused, the well preparedness of the particular organization is demonstrated. If the damage is more, that the business host cannot rebound back and lose the business itself and close the business, that means they are not able to come out of the disruption and the disaster and handle the damage properly. Recently, I think some of you would have heard in the news that a famous brand which everybody is familiar, Witco. Witco is a very familiar brand where we go and buy bags. Now they have come out with a statement last week or so, 10 days back. I saw a statement from the MD of the company saying that thanks for all the customers, we are not able to continue our business. The reason is because of the COVID situation, the pandemic situation. So the disruption and disasters can permanently lead to permanent closure of the business. So it constantly focus on getting better and better, but so do they. By the sheer law of averages, once in a while they will succeed. At those times, your best is to be able to restart fast and within minimum loss. So you need the world's best business continuity readiness. For that, 6R is required. Formally, we have to do that in any organizations while we are implementing DCMS. Reduce, respond, recover, resume, restore, return. These are the 6Rs, which is very much to be practiced and put in place. And when it was last practiced in any organization, ask the question to yourself, you will get the answer. And in last year, economic times, Chennai saw the highest number of cyber attacks. This shows that anything is uncertainty is there prevalent in any nature of industry. Uncertainty is the order of the day. So we have to be prepared. And some of the reasons for outages where the global data here shows very clearly that power outage was a predominant thing where because of lack of power, they are not able to run their businesses. And there are other disruptions reasons for any business discontinuity. It is all given here in the form of a pie chart. So let me throw some light on the 22,300 family. That is wherein the business continuity management system is part and parcel. Origin of the ISO 22301 standard heralds back to the ISO technical committee, ISO TC23, which focused on addressing concerns related to societal security. The standard is now managed by Technical Committee 292, Security and Resilience. The first iteration of the 22,301 standard was published in 2012. The second edition was published in the year 2019 October. So that is the latest version. Within the series, most important standards for an organization seeking to implement an effective business continuity management systems are, these are some of the standards in ISO 22300 family. So for the sake of audience, I thought I'll share this knowledge with everyone. 22300 2018 is a vocabulary wherein lot of technical terms like resilience, business continuity, recovery time objective, recovery point objective, all these terms with their definitions are given there. And ISO 22300 2019 is again a certifiable standard, security and resilience, business continuity management system requirements for which any organization can adopt this standard and go in for certification. And ISO 22313 2020, security and resilience, business continuity management system, it's a guidance standard where it provides helpful direction in support of the practical implementation and operation of a business continuity system. So if you are a consultant or if you belong to some organization, if you want to implement ISO 22301 2019, the first standard to be thorough with is ISO 22313, which is a guidance standard for implementation. That's very important standard, in fact. So some of the benefits of implementation is visible resilience. An effective BCMS provides evidence to current and potential customers of organizational preparedness for disruption. It's very important. Whenever there is a disruption that is happening, how well the organization and its staff members and the employees are prepared to face such a disruptive incident or a disaster. This is particularly important in sectors where disruption can have significant impacts on people's lives as well as financial impacts, including government, healthcare, financial, defense, social services. So predominantly, if you can see in this pandemic situation, the healthcare people are working round the clock, and the EB people, electricity board, they are working round the clock. Essential services, they are working round the clock. How they are able to work even at this pandemic situation? There is a business continuity which is there already in all these departments. If you recall the Varda cyclone that what we had in Chennai, it devastated the entire city. And before that, there was a flood in 2015. That also paralyzed the entire lives of the city people. And many organizations suffered because of that. And they were not able to restart their business or continue their business in such a catastrophe. So such things are happening. We have experienced that. Let us be very proactive in our approach. For that only, the importance of business continuity management comes into existence. Next, the important benefit is peace of mind. The future is uncertain. An effectively implemented BCMS gives an organization confidence to move forward, knowing it can manage a disruption. So that's very important. The confidence level goes up, and naturally it brings peace of mind because everything is in a structured manner. It is available, and this peace of mind spans the organization from personal operations teams to board membership. So next is the competitive advantage. Being able to continue to operate during or shortly after a disruption gives a company a competitive advantage. Certainly in the business, competition is there in any sector. If in a pandemic or in a disruptive incident or in a disaster, when you are able to cater to the needs of your customers and your own competitors are not able to rise up to the occasion, naturally your organization will have a competitive edge over others. In the short term, it may be able to win business from competitors which are unable to operate or are doing so in a diminished capacity. In the longer term, a company can generate reputational benefits that will attract customers as well as benefits from stronger financial capabilities. In addition, a business continuity management system supports an organization to bid or tender more effectively. So the effectiveness part is taken care, and the ultimate thing is the organizational value is protected. A BCMS helps to mitigate the negative impact of a disruptive event. Practically speaking, this can save the organization significant amounts of money, time, and reputational impact. The brand image, so far whatever the organization has created, it will diminish in no point in time because they are not able to bounce back when there is a disruption or a disaster. So the organizational value will be restored and protected. And with respect to cyber security and IT failure resilience, it actually enhances the cyber security. Cyber security and IT disaster planning is high on the agenda of many organizations. A business continuity plan supports a company to manage the impact of the IT disruption. As a consultant, I know whenever we talk about BCP team or BCP plan in any IT company, normally not much of importance was given to the BCP team or the BCP team leaders. I have personally seen in my own experience. But after this Varda cyclone, after this all this pandemic situation, now the top management of every company has started realizing the importance of the BCP team. And in fact, allocation of budgets are also now being given. Major budgets are being allocated for this BCP and the BCP team, because people have started realizing the importance of business continuity management system. So cyber security certifications such as ISO 27001 and Cyber Essentials do not fully address continuity challenges in the event of a disruption. In fact, in ISO 27001, it is only a part of one of the Annex A control. In Annex A control, there are 114 controls in ISO 27001. One of the key point, one of the Annex A control is business continuity management, wherein not much is talked about the event. In the event of a disruption, what is going to happen? What is the escalation matrix that is available in the company? Whom and all has to be informed when there is a disruption? And if the disruption is prolonging for a longer period, then the escalation matrix should indicate up to what level it has to be escalated. Even if the customer has to be informed, then it has to be informed. Like this, no, the entire event of disruption has to be managed, and it's a challenge by itself. So the ISO 27001 attempts to address continuity within the IT function itself, but this does not extend to the rest of the organization. It doesn't extend it to the non-IT areas. But ISO 22301 provides a framework for addressing the wider organizational impact of IT failure. As a result, a business continuity management system is well suited to be integrated with an ISO 27001 information security management system. Here I want to give you an example. The local corporation of London, they are ISO 22301 certified. Supposing there is a heavy cyclone or a heavy rain, the corporation workers have to come to the duty, report to duty, and they have to go and engage themselves in relief work. So how they have to commute between their houses and their office, the place of work. The other, if at all there is any business continuity plan is not there, it cannot happen. Even we are seeing in our own city, it is happening like that. In everywhere, anywhere now, it has become a common thing. Any disruption or any cyclone or any rain, essential services are always there. They are plunged into service. How the employees will come, how they will have their food, what is the transportation mechanism. All these have to be thought over in a business continuity management system model. It is a very important topic to be thought about, and we have to really implement and adopt this system. The high level view, a BCMS operates on a similar principles to other management system, Plan, Do, Check, Act model, PDCA, which I will be explaining in a few minutes, and determining the organizational needs and understand the rationale for business continuity plans. What is important to continue in the event of a disruption? Why is it that important, and to whom? What level of disruption is the organization and its stakeholders prepared to accept? If you are asking this question, if you are able to get a convincing answer, then I think you are in the safer hands and you are very safe. Putting in a place of framework for achieving the mitigation of the disruption. So what all the risk that can come, and what is the mitigation measures we have to adopt? This can include processes, the organization capabilities, and as well as the response structures. And check the performance and effectiveness of the system through monitoring. Continuous monitoring is very much required. Not many of the companies have this mechanism of monitoring the meteorological data. Supposing there is a cyclone warning or something is going to come, a flood warning, many people doesn't have the mechanism of continuously monitoring the met data or the weather data. It is very important as a part of a BCMS plan. Practically speaking, this will involve testing BC plans through various means. Improve the system based on measures established revisit the rationale for the business continuity plans and their alignment to what has been implemented. So one of the practical challenges with BCMS is that it comes into action infrequently. That's the major thing. Biggest challenge is it will not inform you that I am going to come. No, it is going to come suddenly and abruptly, and is going to give a shock to every person in the company. How we are going to handle such a crisis? That's the $1 million question that needs to be answered. While quality management systems are implemented into the company's day-to-day operation, business continuity systems are only fully brought into action when a disruption occurs. That's why we say the mock drills must be a part of the system. So this means that needs to be a greater emphasis on business continuity plan, testing or drills. It may be a tabletop exercise or it may be a physical drill simulating the actual crisis situation. Retaining and refreshing organizational capabilities to support business continuity, periodic reviews of the system, its processes and the changing organization. And key principles of business continuity. Business continuity is grounded in a which needs to be consistently applied to a business continuity system for it to be effective. Responsibility, clear objective, impact and risk evaluation, communication at the time of crisis, and main thing is the communication channel. Sometimes the communication channels may not be available. All the network there will be a big network outage. How to communicate between the people, between the various stakeholders, it's a very big challenge. And of course, testing. And the PDCA cycle, which I was referring, ISO 22301, is based on the PDCA cycle, also known as the Deming wheel or the Schwartz cycle. The PDCA cycle can be applied not only to the management system as a whole, but in each individual element to provide an ongoing focus on continuing improvement. Part of the overall management system that establishes, implements, operates, all verb they have given here. Establish, implement, operate, monitor, review, maintain, and improve. This is what has to be done while you are implementing it. So ensure continual improvement via PDCA cycle. So the plan component is understand the external context and needs of the interested parties, identify the risk and opportunity in fulfilling these needs and requirements of these interested parties, establish the BCMS objectives and allocate resources required. The do component, implement what has been planned from a new business continuity management system down to small process changes. So even the small process changes also need to be considered. And check, monitor and measure the effectiveness of the business continuity, test the business continuity plans and monitor the outcome, that is the result. And take action where necessary based on monitoring, measuring and other drivers for action. This is a pictorial representation of the PDCA model of ISO 22301. And as like any other ISO standards, this follows the high level structure, HLS, class 1 to class 10. And this is how it is all interconnected, organizational context, business continuity objectives, which is again, BAA and RA are the two pillars on which the entire BCMS stands upon. BAA is nothing but business impact assessment, and the RA is nothing but the risk assessment. So these two exercises is mandatory, and every organization, the top management must involve themselves in BAA, in approving the business impact assessment and also the risk assessment. And the outcome of this, the result will be the business continuity strategies and the solutions, and which will culminate to a business continuity plan, which has to be tested periodically. And the key risk areas are the people first. People are very important assets to any company. So the key risk areas, the impact is people, information and data, buildings, work environment and associated utilities, facilities, equipment and consumables, ICT systems, transportation, finance, partners and suppliers. So we need to find out suppliers who can cater to the needs when there is a disruption or when there is a disaster. That is very important. So identify such a type of supplier. Supplier should not say that I am helpless, I am not able to reach you. That type of supplier is of no good when there is a BCP which is being planned. And what to plan for? The first image is a power outage. This is a terrorist attack, and there is a problem in the maybe a bandh or a hartal. There is a bomb blast, there is a flood, and there is a pandemic. and there is again it's a terrorist attack. So such a type of things can happen at any point in time, and the businesses must be prepared to face these type of disasters or disruptive incidents. So the business continuity management compatibility PDCA, the risk treatment, increase or retain the risk, avoid or remove or change or share the risk, and calculate the residual risk, and it leads to the business continuity. So the BCM checklist, scope and objective has to be defined properly, and gain an understanding of the business, assess the risk, evaluate the potential continuity arrangements, define your strategy. That's very important. What strategy we are going to adopt, and develop your continuity plans, maintain, train, and exercise continuity plans. This is again a very big, very important step where everybody has to be involved. And these are all this is nothing but an implementation roadmap which I have given here in nutshell. It consists of 12 steps, which starts from BCM program to continual improvement. And this is how the flow is for implementing the BCM in a company. And BCP in times of COVID-19 is different from a typical business continuity situation, because we don't know when it is going to come to an end, because much longer duration it is taking. No clarity on final resolution when we are going to be totally COVID free, and triggered not by damage to resources, entire ecosystem is impacted. Some positives are realization by all. Even the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, asked the entities to implement business continuity. Tolerance, it's okay. Permanent mindset changes is all the positives which has happened because of COVID. Even this virtual meeting where we are meeting, the WAD celebrations, it is now happening because there is a positive thing which we have seen here. We have switched over to virtual platform. This is also a business continuity example. Suggestions for professionals who are here in this August forum: don't stop now. Complete the journey. Protect yourself against other new threats. Implement the full BCM cycle. Use this opportunity to create permanent BCM readiness and awareness across all segments. Get your people ISO 22301 trained, and CCC will be very happy to help you in training, in imparting training in ISO 22301, and your organization ISO 22301 compliant, or even ISO 22301 certified. And implement the full BCM cycle, the best practices, choose the right people, provide effective training in advance of the implementation, commitment of the top management, competency of all resources, right communication and tools, clearly defined roles, responsibility, and authorities. This is very, very important whenever there is a crisis. The role clarity must be there among all the people in the management, and continued management focus on the BCM program. This is the full BCM life cycle, and build a culture across all interested parties, starting from the top management and also with all the stakeholders and the interested parties and the pressure groups, and also the neighbors, media, and all the staffs and their dependents. And build culture via training and awareness. Continuous training and awareness alone will help us in adopting this standard. So continuous awareness, crisis management, knowledge imparting knowledge to all the people. It may be through a lead implementer course or a lead auditor course, or some specialized courses on BAA and RA, how to do a business impact assessment, or how to do a risk assessment workshops can be conducted. And the business plan, continuity plan, writing itself, drafting a business continuity plan, and also how to test the business continuity plan. Is it a tabletop exercise, or is it going to be a simulation? How it is going to be, what are the resources required, and various training at all levels, even to our suppliers, all the stakeholders alone will help us in understanding the essence of business continuity management system. And build culture via tests and exercises. Frequent tests and exercises alone will reduce the cost complexity and the risk assurance, and the frequency has to be increased in any organization. And the maintenance, advanced testing and exercising, ongoing awareness and training, internal audit and self-assessment, management review, supplier review, corrections and corrective actions for any non-conformances, benchmarking with the best industry practices, continual improvement, and instilling a BCM mindset. These are all the things which has to be there in implementing the BCMS in any organization. And the organizational resilience, in the beginning of my presentation, I was harping on the point of organizational resilience. there is a guidance standard exclusively for organizational resilience. The guidance standard is ISO 22003-16-2017, which provides a guidance to enhance organizational resilience for any size or type of organization. It is not specific to any industry or sector. It can be applied throughout the life of an organization. It does not promote uniformity in approach across all organizations, as specific objectives and initiatives are tailored to suit an individual organization needs. So I recommend everyone who is interested in implementing, please go through the guidance standard of ISO 22003-16-2017. And as per the SDG goal 11 of Sustainable Development Goal, there are 173 standards are there. Business continuity management comes under this goal. And let us all implement BCMS in organizations where it is not there, and let us try to build a resilience for our own clients, or if we belong to organization, let us build our organization as a resilient organization. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramkumar sir, for a detailed session on the business resilience. It's really a good eye-opener for many of the participants, and definitely many people must have believed that this 22301 is a standard for the software companies only. Mainly it is for an IT or ITS company, but it is actually, it's applicable to all type of organizations.
Exactly.
I remember after this 2016 flood in Chennai, two of my clients, they actually asked for this business continuity management system. Though they are ITES, they not only look for this ITES support, but also look across these management continuity, business, financial strength, and all the factors they look it across. And I remember during this pandemic, they are still working and providing their support to the customers across the country in a better way. Last week, the vice president of the company, we had a talk together, and at the time he told that the action, whatever we initiated by 2016, is really working during this 2020 and 21 pandemic situation. Really, it is supporting our field staff to a greater extent. And to my knowledge, I heard that top automobile industries, giants also, they are going for this business continuity practice. This would be a great eye-opener for all the members. And don't restrict your thought that this 22301 is only for IT and IT. And thank you, Ramkumar sir. Thank you for sharing your excellent experience and all the things. Now I am welcoming participants to raise up your questions to the three speakers of the day. Any questions on the three sessions? ISO standards and SDG, and roll up various associations in meeting out this SDG and business resilience. Three sessions we had, excellent sessions. And any doubts, please, you can unmute yourself and ask. Or even you can write it in the chat box also.